my most anticipated board games of 2025. Thank you for joining me here at Tantrum House Studio D. I'm Kevin Delp. 2025's here. We're already playing games, but there are a lot of games coming out in 2025. Today's video is divided into two main categories. The first category are games that I've already played that are going to be published in 2025. So I played a lot of prototypes last year that these games will be coming out in 2025, or maybe there was like an early release at the end of 2024. So I want to talk about those games. And then my second category of most anticipated games are ones that I haven't played yet. So two different categories, but I don't think I have exactly 10 in each category. So, we'll probably have about 16, 17 games altogether. So more than 10, but less than 20. Here we go. So the first one on my list that I'm excited about, that I played a prototype of last year, that's coming out very soon here, is Emerald Skulls from Thunderworks Games. Now this game plays 1 to 6 players, takes about 30 to 45 minutes to play. In the game, it's sort of like a push your luck mechanic. When it's your turn, you'll be rolling dice and then placing those dice in different spots on your skull. And as you place these dice on your skull, there's different rules on where you can place them on different parts of the skull and when you can place them. And if you go too high up the skull, you can't place dice lower in the skull. So there's a little bit of cool mechanics going on with how far do you push your luck. One of the cool things that I like about this game is that even when it's not your turn, you're involved in the game. So when it's not your turn, you're actually betting on what's going on with the player that's rolling the dice. So I do like those kinds of games that keep you involved even when it's not your turn. The next one on my list is Ice and Idols from Inside Up Games. It's 2 to 4 players, takes about an hour to play. So this is a pick up and deliver type game. And on the board, there are these ice tiles that you're rearranging, moving, taking off the board, and you can sort of get stuck if you're careful, if you're not careful. And there's a lot of player interaction in this game, Ice and Idols. I do like the way the board looks. Table presence is really cool. And the prototype was well made, so I'm looking forward to the published version of Ice and Idols. My next one is Restart from Teetotum Game Studios. This is a game for 1 to 4 players. Takes about 2 to 3 hours. The more players, the game length's definitely going to go a little bit longer. This is an engine building game. There's 2 big parts of this game. There's things that you're doing like on your own player board, and your player board is really, really cool. It's almost like a player screen that's going on. And then you have some things going out on the main board. You're trying to create patterns in the game with these different cards. And there's also another part of the game where you're sort of creating laws or passing laws in the game. Now, that part of the game can be a little bit confusing, but once you get a hold of it, it's really interesting. Now, we played a prototype of Restart a few months ago, and we actually did a playthrough on our channel. So if you'd like to see a playthrough of Restart, I think it was a 3-player game, you should check that out. Very, very interesting what's going on in this game. Flatout Games is coming out with a game called Knitting Circle. It's a Calico game. If you played Calico, it's got some similar theme, but different gameplay. The mechanics are totally different. In Knitting Circle, you are going around a sort of central board collecting different pieces of yarn, and you are knitting different pieces of garments, socks, and you are knitting hats and things like that. And you're trying to create different patterns on those different garments. They'll give you points. Very interesting as you are sort of not drafting, but you're sort of trying to get the right color pieces for your garments and placing them properly, and you can be working on a couple different garments at the same time. Fun game. I think maybe a little bit easier to understand than Calico. Calico, there's just a little bit of brain burning that's going on, making sure you got everything in the right spots. But I think Knitting Circle might be just a little bit easier, but I would check that out if that sounds cool to you. This next one is Raas, a Dance of Love. Now, I played a prototype of this at Tantrum Con a few years ago. By the way, Tantrum Con is right around the corner. We'd love for you to join us. That is January 23rd through 26th in Charlotte, North Carolina. Badges are still on sale, so join us. But this game is coming from Arcane Wonders. I believe it's 1 to 6 players. Probably takes 30 to 45 minutes to play. It's a dice drafting game. Now, I like dice drafting games. They're cool. But what really drew me into this game is the actual mechanics. Not the gameplay mechanics, but the actual mechanics, gear mechanics of the game. I don't say board, but the game system. Have you ever played Zulkin from CGE and you're moving the gears and other gears are sort of moving in the game? That's sort of what's going on in this game. You have a central sort of spinning thing that you're spinning in the middle, spinning gear, and that's moving all the other gears in on the board, and they all have different dice on them, and you're trying to draft the right dice to create your best dance. Very, very cool gear mechanical system. So check that out from Arcane Wonders. My next one, I actually have a real copy of it. It's Finspan from Stonemaier Games. Now, I can't really talk about this yet because the review video that Melissa and I did will be will be published on January 17th. But I'm really looking forward to playing this more in 2025. From Stonemaier Games, Finspan, a Wingspan type game. If you played Wingspan or Wormspan, check out Finspan. Ada's Dream from Alley Cat Games should be coming out in 2025. Melissa and I did an overview video that you can check out on our channel last year. Love this game. This is for 1 to 4 players. It takes about an hour and a half to 2 hours to play. This is a medium plus strategy game. You are drafting dice, placing those dice in your own personal player board that'll be able to help you take actions to do different things. There's like 4 different quadrants on the board. A lot going on in the game, and love the way the dice are used. Cool theme, great gameplay. Check out Ada's Dream from Alley Cat Games. All right, my number 1 game I played probably the most in 2024, The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring trick-taking game. This is a cooperative trick-taking game, sort of in the line of like The Crew from Cosmos. This is from Office Dog, and really enjoy it. This can play 1 to 4 players. I like it at 3 and 4 players personally. That's how I would play the game. This is sort of like a campaign type game where you're going through different chapters of the first volume in The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring. We've done a review video of this. We've done a playthrough. I think we even showed it off on a Saturday morning board game show. So if you haven't seen any of those, man, this is a really, really fun game. And I'm looking forward to playing it more. We will have a tournameal at Tantrum Con where we'll be doing a huge event for this game, and people will be able to win copies of this game. So definitely, if you haven't checked out this game, come to Tantrum Con and play it with us. So fun. Love the theme. Love the gameplay. Man, the artwork is really cool too. This stained glass feel to it. So many things I like about this. That's why it's probably number 1 on my most anticipated games that I've already played in 2024, but will be released here in 2025. I believe the game will be released in retail mid-January. Check it out. So as we move from games that I played, that I'm anticipating that are going to be released in 2025, to games that I haven't played, I have two different expansions to games. Sort of its own little category in between these two, because I played the game, but I haven't played the expansion yet. But I love these two that I'm about to talk about. One is Windmill Valley. Got it back here. Windmill Valley is one of my favorite games of last year. It's got this cool action wheel as you were taking different actions in the game. Now, the expansion's called Blooming Sails, and one of the things you can do is trade. There's this foreign trade action, and it says the expansion will dramatically change how that piece of the game is played. So looking forward to the expansion to Windmill Valley from Board and Dice coming. And then I just heard, I don't know if they're going to be, how long it will take, because there's a Kickstarter campaign coming for Maglev Metro. And the reason I'm sort of like on the fence here, or I don't know if it's actually going to be published, because sometimes when you do a Kickstarter campaign at the beginning of the year, there's a high probability the game will be released by the end of the year. So that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking Bezier Games is going to have an early Kickstarter of some expansion maps to Maglev Metro that I've heard about, and those will probably be available by the end of 2025. But check our channel out coming in probably in the next few weeks or months, where we'll have some gameplay videos of those maps. I love Maglev Metro, this engine building game, and love different maps that can be used in it. So looking forward to what those will bring to the table. Okay, one of the surprises for me last year was a game called Kronologic 1920. And there is a different version of this coming this year, 2025, called Kronologic Cuzco. And this is 1920, Paris 1920. I believe the next one is like 1450. So going like sort of way back in time, hundreds of years. This is like a clue type game, logic deduction. You're trying to find the culprit, and the way that you're doing that in Kronologic is really interesting. And you can play 1 to 4 players. It takes about a half hour. There's different scenarios in the game, lots of replayability. You can even, after a while, play the same scenario again, because you probably don't remember exactly who that culprit was in that different scenario. Which I think we've probably done. There's so much information that you just won't be able to remember it all after a while. Now, I'm really looking forward to seeing if Cuzco is going to be very similar to the Paris version, or if there's just going to be totally different on not only the gameplay, but what's going to be going on in the game. All right, my next anticipated game is, I think, more of a party type game. It's Survivor: The Tribe Has Spoken. Now, I'm a fan of Survivor. I enjoy watching that TV show, but there's so many different parts that I like about the game. So I'm really intrigued about Survivor: The Tribe Has Spoken. And this is designed by, or co-designed by the host of Survivor, Jeff Probst. It's published by Exploding Kittens, so, it's got some good names behind it. Not sure all that this game is going to be about. Is it going to be cheesy? Is it going to be good? It says it's trying to replicate the fun, drama, and excitement of the television show. I'm not sure if we'll be able to do that or not. I guess we're going to have to play it and to find out. But I'm intrigued. That is Survivor: The Tribe Has Spoken. It says it plays 3 to 6 players, 30 to 60 minutes to play. My next game that I'm excited about trying out in 2025 is Vantage, and that's coming from Stonemaier Games. It plays 1 to 6 players and 1 to 2 hours gameplay. This is going to be designed by Jamie Stegmaier. Very interesting about this game is that it's open world, cooperative adventure game. And why I'm thinking that's really interesting is because you are playing 1 to 6 players, and it's got this open world feel to it. It says every time you play the game after crashing on this world, you are far away from your companions, and you have complete freedom on how you're going to explore, discover, and interact with the planet and you sort of have this first-person perspective, and you can communicate with your other players, and get maybe support from them, but it says that you're separated by vast distances. I'm wondering how that will interplay with what you're doing in the game. Very interested in Vantage, maybe a little bit bigger of a game coming from Stonemaier Games. And if it plays 1 to 2 hours, that sounds pretty good to me. Looking forward to that. My next one is coming from Paverson Games. This is Luthier, and it is for 1 to 4 players. Takes about an hour and a half to maybe 3 hours to play, 2.5 hours to play, so a little bit bigger of a game. This is a game where you're crafting musical instruments for patrons through worker placement and hidden bidding. The theme really is drawing me in right away, and the combination of worker placement, which I really like worker placement type games. Not a huge fan of hidden bidding games, but maybe the combination of those two will make this game really interesting for me. Alley Cat Games is coming out with a game called Baghdad, and I believe it's coming straight to retail. I could be wrong on that, but looking forward to this game that's 1 to 4 players, takes about an hour and a half to 2 hours to play. The game mechanics are hand management, rondel, and worker placement, so right up my alley. It's set during Baghdad's golden age, and you're taking on the role of viziers looking to build your family's prestige. One of the things in the BGG description says each turn you're going to be playing a card, pushing another card out of your tableau, triggering this ability. So it's kind of cool because there might be some planning going on and what you're trying to accomplish in the game. Yeah, fill your house with wisdom, send ships to the Tigris. Might seem, like a regular bland Euro game, but man, I'm excited about trying this out. From Alley Cat Games, Baghdad. Crafting the Cosmos from Office Dog is my next game on my most anticipated games list. Office Dog came out with this one, which I played and loved. Trick-taking game, mentioned it earlier in the video. They came out with River of Gold last year. Enjoyed that one a lot. So Crafting the Cosmos from Office Dog is for 2 to 4 players. Takes about an hour to an hour and a half to play. Now, it says it's a card game. The BGG description says you are an interstellar architect competing to build the galaxy, 1 star at a time. Manipulate the laws of the universe to your advantage, shifting gravity or the flow of time to activate useful power cards and even spawn advanced life that can earn you extra victory points at the end of the game. Use your resources wisely as you craft your cosmic creation. So, I've really enjoyed what Office Dog has put out as a studio with their games last year. So looking forward to trying out Crafting the Cosmos. Compete to build a galaxy as interstellar architects. Okay, the last one on my list is Propolis from Flat Out Games. I'm really excited about this because of what it says the game's all about. Worker placement, engine building, area control, and tableau building. Whew, it's getting me excited. This game plays 1 to 4 players. My one concern is it says it plays in 15 to 30 minutes. With all those different gameplay mechanics, I'm concerned, is the game going to play too fast for my taste? It could be a great game, so I'm excited about this from Flat Out Games. They usually put out really, really good games. I mean, they put out Cascadia, they put out Calico, Point Salad. Loved those games. This game, you are taking on the role of competing medieval bee colonies and taking turns to deploy your worker bees to collect pollen, fortify their positions, and construct your hives to appease your queen and become the most glorious in the land. So, the theme's kind of cute, but the gameplay could be amazing. I hope it's amazing. It's my number 1 on my most anticipated list here. Let me know in the comments what games you're excited about playing in 2025. Would love to know that. And tell me as well if you're going to be at Tantrum Con. Would love to see you there January 23rd through 26th, Charlotte, North Carolina. Check it out at tantrumcon.com.